Good evening. We begin tonight in Washington, where the partial government shutdown is now entering its third week, and concerns are mounting over a fast-approaching payday for the nation's military personnel. With the October 15th deadline looming, President Donald Trump announced Saturday that he has taken steps to ensure active duty service members will be paid on time. In a statement on Truth Social, the president said he is using his authority as Commander-in-Chief to direct the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, to use all available funds to pay the troops. The president wrote, quote, "We have identified funds to do this, and Secretary Hegseth will use them to pay our troops." He added, "I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown." While the president did not specify the exact source of these funds, recent guidance from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office offers a potential explanation. In a letter to Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, the CBO noted that the Department of War, along with several other agencies, received mandatory funding under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which President Trump signed into law earlier this year. According to the CBO, this funding is not subject to the annual appropriations process and therefore could be used to pay active duty personnel during a shutdown. This move allows the White House to bypass the current legislative impasse that has left much of the government unfunded since October 1st. The shutdown began after Democrats and Republicans failed to agree on a spending bill, with a central point of contention being healthcare. Democrats have raised alarms that expiring Affordable Care Act tax cuts could lead to significant premium hikes for millions of Americans, and that proposed cuts to Medicaid could strip coverage from vulnerable populations. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has signaled that his party is willing to hold its ground on the issue. In a recent interview, Schumer stated, "Every day gets better for us," suggesting that as the shutdown continues, the public focus on healthcare strengthens the Democrats' negotiating position. He elaborated in a statement saying, "Families are opening their letters showing how high their premiums will climb if Republicans get their way. They're seeing why this fight matters." President Trump has sharply criticized this strategy, accusing Democrats of political maneuvering. He has repeatedly called on them to reopen the government before any negotiations on other issues, including health care, can proceed. In another social media post, the president wrote, "The radical left Democrats should open the government, and then we can work together to address health care and many other things that they want to destroy." The White House has echoed this sentiment, with Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson accusing Democrats of gleefully inflicting pain on the American people. Republicans have argued that Senator Schumer's hardline stance is designed to appease the progressive wing of his party. As the government shutdown enters its third week, another significant confrontation between the federal government and state authorities is unfolding in the legal system. A federal appeals court has issued a mixed ruling in the ongoing dispute over the deployment of National Guard troops in Illinois. The Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the Trump administration can legally keep the Illinois National Guard under federal control, but it upheld a lower court's order that blocks the administration from actually deploying those troops within the city of Chicago. This decision keeps the troops in a holding pattern while the full appeals process continues. The legal battle began after President Trump sought to deploy the National Guard to assist with a crime crackdown in Chicago, a move that was immediately challenged by the state of Illinois and the city. On October 10th, U.S. District Judge April Perry granted a temporary restraining order, halting any deployment for at least 2 weeks. In her ruling, Judge Perry stated there was no evidence of a danger of rebellion in the state that would justify a military response. She wrote, "There has been no showing that the civil power has failed. The agitators who have violated the law by attacking federal authorities have been arrested. The courts are open, and the marshals are ready to see that any sentences of imprisonment are carried out. Resort to the military to execute the laws is not called for. The case touches on the president's recent suggestions that he might invoke the Insurrection Act, a rarely used law that grants the president authority to deploy troops domestically to suppress a rebellion or enforce federal laws. The act was last invoked in 1992 during the riots in Los Angeles. Judge Perry directly addressed this possibility in her pointed ruling, writing, "Not even Alexander Hamilton could have envisioned one state's militia to be used against another state's residents because the president wants to punish those with views other than his own." The Trump administration immediately appealed her decision, leading to the latest ruling from the 7th Circuit. For now, the troops can remain federalized in Illinois, but they cannot be used for law enforcement or to protect federal property in Chicago. Similar federal deployments have also been initiated in Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Memphis. While these domestic legal and political battles continue, President Trump is also preparing for a rapid, high-stakes diplomatic mission to the Middle East. The president announced Friday that he will embark on a whirlwind trip to Israel and Egypt to mark the historic peace deal recently secured between Israel and Hamas. The agreement, brokered by the Trump administration, aims to end the war in Gaza that began 2 years ago after the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. A central component of the deal is the return of all hostages held by Hamas. The process began Friday night, with Hamas required to hand over all 48 living hostages, as well as the remains of approximately 28 deceased hostages, within a 72-hour window. President Trump's itinerary is packed. He is scheduled to arrive in Israel early Monday, where he will address the Knesset, Israel's parliament, and meet with some of the recently freed hostages. From there, he will travel to Egypt for an international summit in the Red Sea resort city of Sharm el-Sheikh. More than 20 world leaders are expected to attend the summit on Monday to finalize the peace agreement. The president told reporters the trip would be very quick, stating, "It's not easy for me to get back. It's a very quick trip, but I'll be making 2 major stops, and then I'll be on the plane trying to get back." The reason for his hurried return to Washington is a solemn event at the White House. On Tuesday, October 14th, President Trump will posthumously award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The date is significant, as it would have been Kirk's 32nd birthday. Kirk was assassinated on September 10th during an outdoor event at Utah Valley University. The president described the upcoming event as a great celebration and confirmed that Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, will be in attendance. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the nation's highest civilian award. The president said, "We're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It's the greatest honor, and Erica, his beautiful wife, is going to be here, and a lot of people are going to be here.